Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 384. What are women capable of? So I asked this question today because I've been trying to stay off of Facebook, but recently I got back on it because it seems like the world's breaking down into a Marxist revolution. So I like to add a little resistance to the fray and maybe perhaps stop people from trying to convince people of like evil things and maybe actually might get them to think about things for a little bit. But what are women capable of? Well, anyway, so one of my good friends, I would say, in a former life back in college, way back when. I've seen her a couple times since college. She posted on Facebook today that for all of you who want to defy the mask ban, I actually know some of you, and I actually donated some money to Planned Parenthood in your name today. Ha ha, right? That's what I did. What are women capable of? This is a funny thing because this woman is a lawyer and she studies hard. She's intelligent. She's smart. And she would appear to love pretty much all people. Yet she's donating in the name of Planned Parenthood to other people's name because they refuse to wear a mask, which is really quite interesting. What are women capable of? Well, let's go back to the Garden of Eden yet again, because we do this all the time. Who does the serpent go to? The serpent, the devil, the temptation goes to Eve, right? And why does he go to Eve? Because he knows he can manipulate her, And so, and that's the fall of Eve. Honestly, she's emotional. She can be manipulated, and somebody who poses a reasonable argument that appeals to her nature or her fallen nature, she'll clamp onto that, and clamp onto that and do what needs to be done. And that could be exquisitely evil, by the way. I mean, the fall of the earth, the fall of the world, the fallen nature of man is linked to the initial serpent identifying the weakness in the woman. And what was that? And I'm not excusing Adam at all for any second time, but what was Adam supposed to do? He was actually supposed to step up and say, stand between the devil and stand between Eve and say, not on my watch, you don't. Back off. This is my job. Her eternal soul and her salvation is my responsibility. Back off. That's what Adam was supposed to do. What did he do? Well, he didn't do that. He actually said, whatever you want, Eve, like whatever you think is great, I'll support you. And he became like a hapless, pathetic man that allowed his wife to walk all over him. And then she got her way, which meant the fallen nature of mankind. That's the Garden of Eden story. Whether you like it or not, that's the Garden of Eden story. So today, and by the way, how was this undone? The fallen nature of man was undone through Mary, right? Think about this. That the new Eve, Mary, the new Ark of the Covenant, when the Lord came to her and said, like, you will have my child, right, through Gabriel. She said, I am a handmaiden of the Lord, do unto me according to thy word. Like, she said yes, and she submitted, and she did the right thing, and she saved the world, right? And so, the demolition of the human soul and the fallen nature of man can be accomplished through the very fallen nature of woman. But the salvation of souls and the salvation of our world can be done through the same thing, through the nature of woman. And so woman is capable of many great things and much evil. And this is something that I don't think a lot of women think about, and it should be something they think about as well. So it was a woman in the garden that ate the original apple, but it was also a woman that said yes to the Lord to carry the Savior of the world. And so let's go back to my friend, by the way. So here's a good-hearted woman. Honestly, everybody in the world would know her to be good-hearted. She would care for the poor on the street, the needy, everything else. And yet, she's donating to Planned Parenthood, right? Let's talk about Planned Parenthood for a second. This is an organization that was designed for the elimination of blacks from our planet. Margaret Sanger, she talked about blacks as being undesirables, and she wanted to create an organization that would get rid of them. This was funded through Bush money, neoconservative Bush money, the New World Order type stuff, and this got its start back under Prescott Bush. That was George Bush's grandfather, or George Herbert Walker Bush's father. And the big money that funded Sanger in the eugenics movement was because of the very far left liberal leanings of the Republican Party, and also the very far left liberal leanings of the Democratic Party. And so these unite, they unite there. And so here's my friend who loves all people, yet is willing to pay for the abolition of souls, right? The destruction of babies and the destruction of life, which is odd. And so you think about a woman, what is she capable of? If anybody's ever been married to a woman and can see the beauty she could bring into the world through your children, should never, I mean, it should be mind-boggling that a same woman could actually turn around and politic for the destruction of the same child in the womb. And so this is why, and so that now I'm talking to the men out there. This is why men, you need to be strong, and you need to be tough, you need to be rational, you need to be reasonable, and you never give in on positions of moral turpitude. You step up, you stand up and say, no, we're not going to do this. Just like when the serpent and Eve got together, Adam was supposed to be in the middle of that and say, hey, guess what? God said, don't do this. We're not doing that. I'm going to be tough here. I know it's going to hurt. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to be tough here. And so, well, anyway, so my friend, by the way, she's obviously pro-abortion, but I suspect she's not, right? I bet you she's probably had one in the past or whatever it is. And she's hurt and she's wounded and she kind of wants people to be along with her. But here she is, who lives up to, I would say, a moral high ground in terms of caring for the needy, the poor, the suffering, and everything else. Yet she's willing to sponsor the destruction of life in the womb and then plaster somebody's name who disagrees with it onto the donation, which that's libel, by the way. This woman's a lawyer, right? And a lawyer woman is going to plaster somebody's name. That's called libel. It's called slander. It's actually illegal. So here's a woman willing to break the law for the destruction of souls in the womb and then give somebody else credit for it who doesn't agree with it. And so that's bearing false witness, that's murder, it's, you know, you name it. All the fallen nature of man, all the fallen nature of woman. And so what are women capable of? They're capable of the highest of great things, of the salvation of souls through the birth of the Savior. But they're also capable of the original fallen nature of man through the Garden of Eden. And so that's why men actually need to be tough, and they need to step up and say no more. We're not going to do this anymore, because your job is to love and nurture and care for the, for those who can't care for themselves. Unwanted children, the poor, the needy, the suffering, the naked, the homeless, the mentally ill, you name it. And so, well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad making you think about it. Please like or subscribe, get the Mass, pray the daily rosary. God bless you all. Everybody, take care.